Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. I am just coming on today to speak casually a little bit because I kind of enjoy that kind of content where there's not really a laid out topic, but just what is casually coming into my head comes out. So here we are in the beginning of June. How are you feeling? I hope you're great. I hope that you're surviving, and I hope that you are healing and making progress, as that is what I am trying to do during this time as well. It's a weird energy that we're going through right now. And I feel that everyone coming in, moving into June, just really has to take a bit of pressure off of themselves and realize that things are not as stuck as they feel. I'm just going to kind of go into this video speaking about some of the general topics I've been seeing. It's a similar format to my Patreon benevolence tier, which I will link below if you guys would like more like this. I go into every month and I sort of summarize what I've seen in all of the readings that I've done, both personal, collective, and private, and I summarize the things that have come up. So if you like this type of thing, you can click below to see more and understand more of the topics that are in June specifically. As I'm not really talking about June specifically in this reading, I'm sort of just talking about what I feel a lot of us to be going through right now, sort of less out of the structure of time, because that's what my channel revolves around is time. I do like monthly readings, weekly, interpreted from the weekly point of view, and it's all time oriented. And this video is more about what I feel is to be facing for the entirety of the summer and maybe moving more towards the end of this year. So I guess it's about time as well, but it's not so confined. So, the first thing that's kind of been on my heart lately is facing fears. I feel that a lot of us are facing fears, and now learning how to communicate to ourselves and others what fears are and how we can overcome them. So, one of the major things that we are delving into as we go through this month and the summer months is the communication of fear, communicating that which freaks us out a little bit, and being given a reward for being able to do that. There is a very rewarding energy present right now. There are a lot of possibilities to find treasures here, a lot of possibilities to overcome past anxiety, past fears, moving into an old story and finding what you needed to find before that you couldn't find before. We have so much retrograde coming on, and I have specific videos about each retrograde, so I'm not going to talk so much about each planet being retrograde, but there's going to be 5 as we get into July. Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Mercury. So we're going to be going through July with some of the strongest retrograde energy that we've had in a long time, and I don't think that has to be something that really messes us up too badly. I think that we can overcome that, and I think that we can prove to ourselves that we're not as stuck as we think we are. Because with so much heavy energy being retrograde, it does tend to start to feel stuck, or like time passes in a weird way. That has been one of the main things that I've been hearing from people I'm working with, and just in general, is time is so weird right now. And I think there is a desire to really come into timing in a different way. So, what is your timing? How much time are you allocating to your work, to your relationships, to yourself, to the void? These types of things need to be looked at during this time. And it is really possible to gain a type of mastery of timing and a mastery of output as well, because I think that a lot of people right now are not outputting energy in the right direction. There's maybe a lot of time needed in coping, a lot of time needed in just existing, being in the void. And that will continue on. It is a part of Neptune retrograde, especially. But we have to remember why we're doing what we're doing during this time. We have to remember our end game. And this is a great time to develop an end game, it feels like. So, really tapping into healthy forms of ambition, tapping into healthy forms of self reminding. There's like a reminding of selfhood that I feel is coming up during this time. And, perhaps as you're listening, there are a lot of things that come up, and there are a lot of like realizations. So, don't hesitate to really note down, like, okay, what is it that I really want to do? Like, whether it's a mental note or a physical note, like, you have to like really think about that. Like, what do I want right now? Because I think that a lot of people are really being either victim to their wants or like not acknowledging them in some way. There's a lot of want issue here. There's a lot of crux regarding like what I want, where I see myself, what is uncomfortable about where I am, and do I need to change that? Do I need to stay in that? It does feel like there are so many more options that open up this summer and so many more options that come in, but how do I make that a comfortable process? I think we're all curious to understand. And that is somehow also connected to health and connected to the condition of your body. One thing that I can also say about this paradigm of energy that we're in right now, again, kind of separated from time, but just where we are, like as you're listening to this video, your body doesn't play right now and it doesn't really react well to, bad habits. Okay. So things which are not good for your health are magnified during this time. Pluto retrograde, one of the main things about it, especially with the Jupiter retrograde too, is the body's ability to like heal and transform gets a little bit delayed and can be a little bit roundabout. So anything which is bad for your health is very much magnified right now. So you do have to take a lot of provisions in healthy lifestyle, in getting the sleep that you need, in giving your body what you know it needs. One of the main difficulties that I see a lot of people going through right now is being in a place where it's easy to let health fly by the wayside because of a feeling of temporary. So a feeling of a situation being temporary, which means that you can act in any way that you want because it's temporary. It's sort of like the idea of I'm going on a diet next week so I can eat however I want this week because of the oncoming diet. And something that seems really prevalent right now is this period of time of before the diet gets really stretched out. So it's like you come forward like a few months later and you're still in that, well, next week I'm going on a diet so I can eat however I want now. And that mentality seems to be very prevalent in many spaces of life. So it's like, okay, I'm going into a new job next week, so I don't have to try in this job now. Or I'm leaving this relationship next month, so I can go ahead and, have sexual contact with other people because I'm leaving it next month. But then the marriage ends up lasting for like 10 more years. It's that type of thing. Time is wonky right now. And that's why we have to find diligence, responsibility, self-knowledge, in whatever place, whatever time that we're in, like being able to bring it to the present, being able to bring health to the present, regardless of where I am, regardless of what's coming next week. I am operating as a spiritually and physically healthy person. This is one of the main things that overcomes karma right now and gives clarity. So there's a lot of illusion relating to that sweet point that we're talking about of diet next week, I can eat whatever I want now. There's a lot of lack of clarity that seems to be proliferating on account of this mindset. So that's really the one things right now, and one of the main things that I wanted to make a video on was really get into the present. Like when you're hearing this video, like I want you to really wake up to the surroundings and understand what is and is not maintainable. What a healing time to realize what is not maintainable, what habits, what choices, what locations, what goals are no longer right. And then being able to clear out that space so that you have leftover space, leftover energetic budget to prioritize and understand what is right. Because again, this time just does not really offer a lot of concession for constantly doing what isn't right. It's a heavy energy. It's easy to feel heavy chested, easy to feel lack of energy, easy to feel fatigue, easy to feel overstimulated. And that is all a sign of carrying too much. That is all a sign of trying to make too many paradigms coexist in one place. So we have to make choices here, it is true. And it's not really an infinite timing to make choices. It's easy to be like, I'll make the choice next week. I'll do it next month. And then all this time passes. Really, in this present moment, choices do have to be made. And I really wanted to come on today to perhaps give you guys a bit of a heads up on that throughout this summer, the present moment that you're experiencing, whether you come back to this video or just listening to it when it first comes out, like choices are not the easiest thing to make, but they're very rewarding, okay? And one thing that is not so rewarding right now is being beneath choices or being above choices. We really have to align ourselves at the level of choice and remind ourselves that we can choose. Not so great to be impassive, not so great to be in an environment where your fate is chosen for you. We really want to get into our power and understand what we can choose. And it feels that through that process, we're reminded of the power that we forgot we had by making these choices. Because truly, the time that we've come into is one of quite good luck and gifting. I feel there to be gifts very abundant. Like there are abundant amounts of gifts around. We just have to make the choice to reach out the hand and get them. As well, there are many paths very open to many of us right now. It's rare to see someone right now who is very pigeonholed or very connected to one path. I feel us all to be at not just a crossroads, but like diverging paths of like 6 or 7 potentials, like right in front. And it is hard to make the decision, but you don't want to starve yourself at that sort of proverbial crossroads. You really want to allow yourself to continue on the path that you need. So what do you need? Again, here we are back at needs and wants. The path that you go down depends on what you need. Are you struggling with health problems? Are you struggling with emotional health? Are you struggling with existential crisis, with not really feeling connected to people around you? Or have you kind of solved some of those problems? Things aren't feeling so existential. You're feeling more strongly placed in your location, but there's still not that relationship that you wanted. These are the types of things that you need to get clear on. Like, what is it that I've overcome? And what is it that I still need to overcome? What is it that I still want? And then when you determine those wants, when you determine what it is that you want to move toward, you have to then find discernment there and think, is this goal real for me? Is this goal something that I truly want? And if it is, it will become very clear which path you need to walk to get toward it. And through moving down that path, fears are overcome. So yes, a lot of us find ourselves on a path throughout this summer that can be fear evoking. Something might not be the most comfortable, but it is through that process that you prove to yourself your own strength. Having so many retrogrades, especially the fear planets, Neptune and Pluto, yes, there are fearful situations that can come up, but they're not as real as you might think that they are. And that's an important thing to acknowledge during this time as well. Am I dubiously freaked out by something that does not have to be scary? Okay. And I really want you to take that food for thought right now as well. It's easy to see the worst case scenarios of a situation right now. It's easy to see where this could all lead back to a problem. But is that maybe the problem in and of itself? Being able to give yourself foresight while at the same time not succumbing to fear of what's on the other end is truly an imperative integration right now. And on my ending note, really, one of the main things that I want to come through for this energetic discussion is you are a bit more flexible and a bit more mobile, a bit more capable of exploring, finding possibilities, and looking around than you might think. Things are not quite as final as they might be led to believe here. And it's important not to operate as if each action gives a situation finality, because we are not in closure mode during this time. We are not at an ending phase here. Yet we're kind of acting as if each decision brings with it some sort of finality. So that's going to be an important thing to realize as well. There's a little bit of free room, especially in June and July. There's a little bit of back and forth. There's a little bit of movement. I'm here, I'm there. My likes are here, my likes are there. I'm finding out what I like. And within that, there is not so much of like, okay, I go here and then the book closes. And that's that. You can make a decision and then come back during this time. That is possible. It gets more final towards September and October. But you want to really, again, you don't want to let that knowledge give you a sense of, okay, I can do whatever I want because nothing's final. What you want to do with that is sort of direct that at an understanding that things have changed, really. This comes down to things changing. Like perhaps things were very final in the past. Strong, consequences for small mistakes. Okay, here it is more likely to see consequences for things which are not mistakes. It's a bit skewed, and that might not be the most uplifting thing to hear, but it just reinforces selfhood, and it reinforces the fact that you can't rely on sense from other people. You can't rely on other people to act in a way that you find sensical and natural. Not to say that many of you won't see that. There's just, do you see kind of the connecting themes here, though, during this time? Connecting this discernment to this selfhood, to the actions of other people, not placing all of our faith and all of our investment into the actions of other people, knowing what we need to do, not being stuck in the passenger seat. That is the moral for this time, and I believe that at that point, I will go ahead and conclude this video. Thank you all for listening to this week's video on the energy that is just prevalent right now in this paradigm. If you would like to hear more like this, you can click in the description box below. My June benevolence messages were just recently uploaded to Patreon, and it goes like way more in depth on, these types of messages. I talk a lot about communication, throat chakra, and there are like past months benevolence too, which are applicable for the entire year. There's a lot of content on Patreon, actually. If you would like to check it out, that'll be below. And thank you all so much for your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. It helps so much, and I post videos every Friday, and I do monthly readings, and really whatever comes to my mind. So I hope that you all enjoyed this. It was very casual, but we will be talking soon. Much love. Bye.